and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another After Hours TBR. Now, I didn't have one last month because this little boy, come on, look, I need you to take the blame because they're more likely to forgive you. He's not having it, he's not interested. Yeah, things have been kind of crazy here and all kinds of life stuff getting in the way, but I have filmed something. Stuff is coming. And I thought it would probably be a good time to do another TBR. So this is my TBR for June. It is Pride Month, so I'm going to try and squeeze in as many LGBT books in as possible. I'm going to try and collect as many like fantasy prompts as possible because that's what I'm in the mood for. And yeah, I'm going to go do that TBR and then I'm going to let you know how I got on. Let's play. So, thriller mystery. I've got actually a middle grade that I want to read in June. But yeah, mainly I just want to read books that are going to champion Pride. I actually, for my website, obviously Gothic, for my website I actually want to be able to do a blog a week essentially for different letters in the LGBTQ plus IA, etc. So I've just gone round in a circle. That was a complete waste of my time. I don't want to have a middle grade. I can do another. No, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood. So I want a lot of fantasies, I think. Let's see if I can find some more fantasies. Loads of thrillers and middle grades. Not in the mood for them. Why are they the only ones popping up? That's really weird. But yeah, obviously with it being Pride, I want to be reading a lot of LGBTQ books, but I want to be doing a blog, essentially a week for every letter. We recommend LGBT books all the time on Waypoint Books. I say we, me. I recommend books that are LGBT all the time. I just think it's sensible, if nothing else. Oh, it's starting to go dark. It's starting to go dark. Let's pick up a horror, because I've actually got one that I really want to read. I guarantee I'll go for those prompts and they won't be any of the genre, like any of the prompts I actually want. It will be just a vague genre. That was a romance. No, we're done. I don't think I've ever collected all 10 prompts within the first go. I just don't think that's happened. But I did find the map for this the other day and I forgot how goddamn complicated it is. I feel like you've only seen like a small bit of it because I never get far enough into it. I always get lost. So it's a very complicated map and Kieran should be very proud of it. So complicated that I'm going around in circles, I feel. But yeah, I'm definitely more in the mood for fantasy. More thrillers. I could pick up some non-fiction. If I can get through to that room, I will pick up some non-fiction. I think it's a good time to read non-fiction is during a month that's celebrating the kind of person that you're not. I'm literally going back the way I came. This is so stupid. Why am I so bad at this game? I've played it for a few months now and I'm still terrible at it. Okay, I went down last time, so let's go up, see if that makes a difference. No, it doesn't, because that's a dead end. Oh, and it's going dark already. I literally don't think I've picked up any books this go. Okay, what's blue? Remind me what blue is. Blue is a fantasy. Sweet, let's do fantasy. Let's do a non-fiction, and let's do a romance. And there we go. Oh, nearly took 3 goes then. Okay, cool. So we've got thriller mystery ecology theme, which is great because I picked up Burnham Wood for All the World's a Page readathon, which is hosted by Julia, Cara and Olivia. Didn't finish it because it was a lot denser than I was expecting, so that's kind of perfect because it definitely has, like, it's a literary, but I believe it has like those weird, like there's something weird going on, so I'm allowing it for mystery. I've already picked that one. That one's the one I'm reading. Middle grade, underrated author, shouldn't be too difficult. Gothic fiction, gods. Again, I feel like I've got something that's going to fit that perfectly. Fantasy, underrated author, fun. Gothic fiction, gender swapped retelling. Interesting. Okay, doable. Horror, hot word title. Not quite what I wanted, but that's fine. Romance, multiple POV, not difficult at all. Fantasy, fall or spooky vibes, love that. Non-fiction, last chance book. That feels harsh, but fine. Okay. And romance set in winter. That's going to be really jarring, reading a winter romance in summer. Sometimes I make a TBR and I immediately know which books I'm not even going to try reading, and I feel like a wintry romance in summer is not where I want to be. So we'll see. But anyway, I'm going to go and find the books for this TBR and I will catch up with you very soon. Okay, all bar one, maybe two books is LGBT. The baby's back. So I'm quite pleased with that. Now, obviously, I'm still doing Total Bollocks. Obviously, our prompt for June is going to be LGBT books. So any of these books could end up being my Total Bollocks book. I'm not going to put one specifically on my TBR for that. And also there is the Lunar Library pick, which has not yet arrived. And I will also be adding that to my TBR as well. In the meantime, I'm going to start with the two that don't fit the LGBT prompt. Didn't get nearly as many fantasies as I'd have liked. And actually, I'm starting to be concerned because I've recently reorganised my books and I can't find my TBR through the books that I've already read because I've organised things by genre, and that was a mistake. So I'm probably going to spend this afternoon rearranging my bookshelves, but in the meantime, that's a complete tangent. The first book that is not LGBT but is not on my TBR was the prompt that I kind of said I was probably not going to read. A wintry romance. I've gone for A Merry Little Meet Cute, which I bought after the hype, which was my first mistake. My second mistake was picking it to read in summer, because nothing says romance like Christmas in June. I don't know anything about this other than the romance community on BookTube and Instagram went absolutely batshit for it. So here's hoping it lives up to the hype. We shall see. The other one that I'm not convinced ticks the LGBT prompt, but I might be wrong because I've not heard very much about it. For horror, a hot word title, I have gone, or a hot word in the title, I've stretched a little bit because the only book that I have that had a hot word in the title was Bad Witch Burning, which is a YA urban fantasy. And that's as far away from horror as you can get. This is at least a like thriller with, I think, horror themes. This is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea C. Summers. Hot word. So I'm hoping you'll allow it. For some reason, the actual cover is on the back, not on the front, because this is an ARC. It came out July of last year, apparently. That's good to know. But this is about a food critic who starts eating people. That sounds horrific. I've added it to the TBR. Back to the LGBT prompts then. I also had non-fiction Last Chance. Now, there aren't any non-fiction books, as far as I'm aware, that I've TBR'd more than twice. And I think the few non-fictions that I TBR'd, I've either read or I'm just not in the mood for right now. So I'm going with Julia Shaw's by The Hidden Culture, History and Science of Bisexuality. Yeah, this is a non-fiction book about bisexuality. I don't think there's much more that I can go into about it. It's not a last chance. I'm not going to get rid of it if I don't read it. But I have been meaning to get to it for ages. It has been sat in my TBR cart for ages because I have had every intention of reading it. I think I might have TBR'd this once before. I may have TBR'd it and that's why it was in my TBR cart. But I can't remember if I did that officially or not. Regardless, it's back in the TBR. So, last chance, but barely. It is a non-fiction about LGBT though. Then we had a fantasy spooky vibes. Now, I don't know if this is going to have any LGBT themes in. I should have said three. But I wasn't really paying attention. It was a fantasy with fall or spooky vibes, so I've gone with Fortuna Sworn. Again, I'm pretty sure this is the second time I've TBR'd this, but I will need to check. I think I know something about the character which makes it spooky, but I'm really concerned that it's a spoiler. So I don't mind spoiling in my wrap-ups because I feel like you're coming to see certain things about that anyway, but I am concerned when it comes to wrapping up. I am concerned about spoilers in TBRing books, so I don't want to do that to you. So I'm not going to say the thing, but I think if not the spooky vibe, it certainly ticks off the fall vibes because of the colours and the general like woodsiness, the bare trees, etc. So that's my fantasy for fall and spooky vibes. Then I have a romance with multiple POV. I have gone for Delilah Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a sapphic romance which was gifted to me by Lamia from Becca's Discord. So thank you so very much for this. I'm really looking forward to this one. I feel like this and the most recent one, which name escapes me, again, took like the romance community by storm. So really intrigued. And I feel like this is going to be a very summery read. So I'm really looking forward to that. Then we had Gothic gender-swapped retelling. And again, I've bent the rules a little bit because a lot of the gender-swapped retellings I have are more historical or mythological, not gothic. So I could get away with it with fantasy or historical fiction, but I don't think I'd have got away with it with gothic. But I've done my best. So I'm going to be reading The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Silvia Garcia. Now, Dr. Moreau is a gothic, I guess, villain, and I believe H.G. Wells. I feel like that's a really obvious thing for a gothic person to know, but I'm not a massive fan of H.G. Wells, which is why it makes me think it's H.G. Wells. But regardless, this is about his daughter, so it is her perspective, and I think it's after the end of the previous book. So again, not strictly a retelling, but it is centering a woman in a heavily masculine genre. So I'm here for that. And that is why I've picked this one. Plus, Silvia Garcia, I'm just working my way through her backlist. Are you going to allow it? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you allow it? Do you have a better gothic retelling that gender swaps? Let me know. I really did say 2 books weren't, and I can't guarantee this one's got LGBT in either. That's 4 now. We're up to 4. I did really well, guys. 4 out of 10. That's almost half. I'm really bad at this. But the rest of them I know for sure. I know for sure are LGBT. Next was Fantasy and Underrated Author. I have no idea if this is an underrated author because I've heard so very little about them. But I've gone for Master of One. It's enormous. It's enormous. It is how many pages? It's 530 pages. That looks like 2 bros holding hands. So, tick. Yeah, so I don't know anything about this. I just know that the booktube community were getting really excited for it when it was coming out, so maybe not entirely underrated, but I've not heard anything since. So I don't know. But it's not an author I've heard of before. I've not heard of Jada Jones or Danny Bennett before, but definitely looks LGBT and is definitely fantasy in that it's about fae. That's it, that's all I know. Then we had gothic fiction Gods. Now I have TBR'd this one before. I TBR'd this very recently for Gothic Found Family. The Gods of Lost Words. It's literally in the title, so we know gods are going to be involved. This is one of my favourite gothic fiction series. It is perfect for fans of dark academia, Neil Gaiman, like Good Omens, etc. But it's a really fun, really poignant story. I have been putting this off because I love this series so much and I don't want it to end. If I could be guaranteed another 4 books, I'd have picked it up quicker, but I have not. But the main character in this is pansexual and there's other representatives of the LGBT community in it as well. For a middle grade underrated author, I have picked up Alice Austen Lived Here by Alex Gino, who is the author of Melissa, which I also have. And that is just behind me. It was originally George, but then because it is about a trans child, they've actually updated it to make it Melissa, and I really appreciate that. But I don't hear many people talking about Alex Gino. I'm assuming it's because they write for a lot younger audiences than a lot of booktubers when they come to read middle grades, so I don't think they get the hype, but it is definitely LGBT, and they are definitely underrated because I think their stories are really beautiful and poignant. But this is about a non-binary character, so I'm excited to tick that one off as well. Chances are this is the one I will speak about in 𝚘𝚘𝚎 because I want to talk about this and Melissa. Because I think we should have more LGBT middle grades. I just think that's the thing that we should have. And then finally was the one that was not a surprise because I literally said it in the other clip. Was a thriller mystery with ecology themes, and that is Birnam Wood. This has a sapphic relationship in it as well, but this is about a guerrilla ecology group who basically grow crops in unused areas and they cultivate things like that, and it's not really been a problem. They've not stirred up much issue around it, and it's very similar to real things that are happening out in the world at the moment where people are kind of planting crops wherever they can, or planting plants wherever they can so that it kind of helps rebuild the environment. But in this one specifically, there is a lot of land that is being bartered over by other people and someone else becomes like a benefactor of theirs, and it's really sinister, but it's very, very dense. There aren't many, there's not chapters, there's parts, and each part is like 100 and something pages. So I really struggled because I was trying to burn through a lot of books to catch up with Olivia and just wasn't ready for it right then. But I think I do want to continue it because the writing style is really interesting. It's very literary but very sinister, and it really reminds me of like Cold Boys Wood and Ghosted, which also have that very dark, literary, almost gothic vibe. So intrigued, but not a surprise to you because I told you I was going to read that earlier. So yeah, that's my TBR for this month. I'm actually looking at my TBR cart and there are at least 6 books that I will be carrying over. Can't help that, unfortunately. That's happening. But I'm going to try to be sensible. And now I'm going to go and reorganise my bookshelves. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below which book you're most excited to pick up for June. Treat yourself from something from Waypoint because it supports me and my content. And most importantly, have a nice day.